You ever have moments where you love something and you're convinced everyone else would share the same opinion, but it turns out you're alone on an island and nobody else loves it? Doesn't just apply to sneakers, it can be any hobby, cars, music, movies, whatever. I've been having more of those experiences lately as I get older, but this one stood out. I was convinced when they added a very popular shoe in the MX1 to a Shima Shima collection that was a classic in 2003, everybody would jump on board. Air Max 1 Shima Shima. Back in 2003, when I was way too young to buy sneakers for myself, a Shima Shima pack released. It included Air Max 1s, Air Trainer 1s, Nike Dunk Highs, but at the time it was exclusive to Europe and Asia, and I believe Canada. Now I was too young to remember what the hype was like for that shoe back then, but looking back at photos, I would have gone bonkers for these shoes. And last year they brought back the Air Trainer 1 Shima Shima, a very underrated shoe, and on March 10th this year for $160, they added another shoe to the Shima Shima collection in the Air Max 1 Shima Shima. Honestly, when images first appeared for the shoe, I thought they would sell out. The Air Max 1 is generally a very popular shoe, and with such neutral and earthy tones that is so wearable, I thought it would appeal to a very large consumer base. I was obviously wrong, but still sitting on Nike.com pretty much a full-size run. Despite all of that, I really think this shoe is one of the best sneakers in my collection right now. And here's why. The first thing you'll notice that's different on this shoe is the Shima Shima tag, replacing the Nike tag on the tongue. Now, I can't speak Japanese, but I can read Japanese characters, and this literally says Shima Shima. And I had to actually go search what Shima Shima meant in Japanese, because Nike, of course, never gives you a good story and inspiration behind the shoe, but one of the definitions of Shima is stripes, and that makes sense. You can see the stripes inside the ankle collar, inside the shoe. It's a very distinct feature of all the shoes in the Shima Shima pack. Now, the upper sole of the shoe features a leather white base layer with grey mid panels and a brown mud guard which comes in a nubuck material. Now, the official color for that brown is actually Plum Eclipse, which I guess makes sense, but if I was being simple and wanted to actually make sense, I'm just gonna say it's a tinge of brown, but I'll go with Plum Eclipse. Now, the nubuck on the shoe is very nice. It's so smooth. It's almost so smooth that it feels like non-nubuck leather, and a smooth nubuck is what I prefer. But on the other hand, the leather on the shoe is good, but it's not the best. I've definitely seen better leather on other shoes. Now, this Plum Eclipse gray and white combination, whew! The colorway alone was the reason why I thought this shoe would sell out very quick, but apparently I'm in the minority here. Like other MX1s, the shoe features a foam midsole, obviously with a translucent Nike Air unit, and a rubber outsole that comes in that distinct MX1 waffle pattern. I especially love how that two-tone outsole looks. That's so clean. The insole of the shoe comes in that Plum Eclipse color, and you can also see the characters Shima Shima in red on top of that. And the most beautiful part of a shoe, the booty of the shoe, look how gorgeous that looks. The Nike Air and that Plum Eclipse color on top of that gray. I love when you see all three colors, one on top of each other, on the booty of the shoe of an MX1. This shoe doesn't come with any extra laces, which seems to be the default for me now, but usually I'd make a big stink and complain about that. But I can't actually think of any other color that would go better on this shoe than the Plum Eclipse. So I'm not too bummed, but I still would have appreciated an extra set of laces. The box of the shoe, I was really hoping they'd do something special for a Shima Shima collection, but it's like any other red Nike box. Now moving on to sizing, I'm usually a size 9.5 true to size, but I know for sure on an MX1 I gotta go up half a size to size 10, and I went to size 10 for this shoe, but it's still pretty snug. I definitely didn't want to go up a full size. Lengthwise, that'll just be too much. So widthwise, it can still feel pretty snug at times and pretty tight. So if you're a wide footer, I'd recommend going up half a size and maybe just loosening up the laces a bit more. And now to give the shoe a sole score, and the first metric is colorway. The colorway is easily my favorite thing about this shoe. I love earthy tones, I love neutral tones, I love the color blocking, everything just works. So for colorway, I'm gonna give it a 5 out of 5. Next up is materials, and like I said, the nubuck that you see on the mudguard and the swoosh, so good. It feels so nice, so smooth. However, the leather, while I think it's good, and probably what you would expect from a shoe at this price point, in isolation when you look at materials in a vacuum, it's not the best. The padding around the ankle collar and the inside of the shoe feels very soft. So the materials are very good, but not perfect. I'm gonna give it 4 out of 5 for materials. Next up is comfort, and this is probably where a lot of people will disagree with me. I do have wide feet, so width-wise, it's not the best fit for me, so it's not the most comfortable shoe, but I will say the cushioning and the padding inside the shoe feels great. So for comfort, I'm gonna give it a 3 out of 5. And the next metric is versatility, and what can I say? A great colorway, a very versatile colorway on one of the most versatile silhouettes in the MX-1 in my opinion. It just doesn't get better than this. I could wear this anywhere, everywhere, anytime. So for versatility, I'm gonna give it a perfect 5 out of 5. The final metric is storytelling, and this is where I'm a little torn. It's clearly a part of the Shima Shima collection, and it's clearly Japanese inspired, but I just don't like how Nike never makes it clear exactly the story behind the inspiration. Why stripes? Why Shima Shima? The MX-1 had a beautiful story behind the shoe. Tinker Hatfield went to Paris, he saw the Pompidou building where you could see into the building itself. That gave them the idea of the translucent Nike Air unit, and the rest is history. I just wish Nike would be more clear or give us more detail behind why they chose this design. Why they chose Shima Shima specifically. Maybe I'm looking in all the wrong places, but I was searching on the internet for the story, couldn't really find an explanation. Nike's official website doesn't tell the story. Maybe in 2003 there was like a cool story behind the Shima Shima collection itself, but I couldn't find it, and I feel like Nike could have put that story on their website if they wanted to. So for storytelling, I'm gonna meet in the middle and give it a 3 out of 5. And that brings the total sole score to 20 out of 25, which is actually the highest score for any shoe that I've reviewed. And I'm not too surprised. When I first saw images of this shoe, I fell in love. I love the colorway, I love the Air Max 1, it's my favorite Air Max, and it edged out the Air Max 1 Ugly Duckling Pekin by just 1 point, but I think versatility wise it just edges out the Pekin by a little bit. There are just some mysteries I'll never solve, and this is one of them. The Air Jordan 1 Laney sat for a while, but at least I can see why people didn't love that shoe. But I was genuinely convinced that this shoe would do very well. And maybe I'm just out of touch with what's cool nowadays, and that's fine, I'm old. Trends and hype have escaped me, but what won't escape me is my love for Air Max 1s, especially when they come in such a dope colorway. So that's it. Thanks for watching Soul Inclined. Let me know in the comments below what you think of the Air Max 1 Shima Shima. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And remember, just remember, wear your shoes.